Alright, let's take a break from our usual content and try my hand at this kind of thing. Let me tell you, I have mixed feelings on Dragon Ball What If content. On one hand, I used to be obsessed with these videos, but on the other, I think way too often, what ifs devolve into a meaningless power fantasy, where the writer just makes all of their characters more powerful than in canon. You see this kind of thing a lot in isekai anime, where the protagonist is meant to be a self-insert for the audience, and is overpowered, winning every fight with ease. You as the viewer are supposed to imagine yourself as that overpowered character, and feel powerful. It's sort of similar to a Mary Sue, a character who is shown to have no meaningful flaws, and are always morally in the right, often preaching the beliefs of the writer. However, being overpowered doesn't automatically make a main character a Mary Sue. You can certainly tell an excellent story about an overpowered character. Something like One Punch Man is a great example. You'll never see him lose a fight, but the story keeps you engaged with other things, like Saitama's personal struggles with loneliness, or the story creates tension by having other heroes hold the villains off until Saitama arrives. Something I'd say was somewhat inspired by Dragon Ball Z. My point being that I don't just want to end up making Mary Sue content like so many others. None of this is to say that Dragon Ball What If stories can't be good, but too often I feel like they're not. And additionally, I don't think you should belittle writers that do this, as writing a compelling story is difficult, and Mary Sue storytelling is a very common trend that inexperienced writers fall into. As they gain more experience, I think most tend to grow out of it. Now, the point where this kind of thing really reached its highest extreme is the trapped and betrayed in the time chamber trend. I'm not sure who actually started it, but in the spirit of not calling people out, I won't go check either. The trapped and betrayed concept is the ultimate climax of this sort of storytelling. While tons of stories are similar self-insert power fantasies, none of them were so shamelessly direct as this. Though, the reason the concept is so meme-worthy is also due to how jarring and off-brand the concept is, within the lighthearted Dragon Ball story. Ultimately, the entire point isn't to tell an interesting story, but an excuse to trap Goku somewhere, where he can train for an indefinite amount of time to justify him being overpowered when he eventually escapes. The reason I get so annoyed by this sort of thing is because I believe the best storytelling comes from our characters finally overcoming an intense struggle. If our hero is always the best from the beginning, then they have no struggle to go through, and ultimately, the writer has no real story to tell. Imagine if Goku was already a Super Saiyan going into Namek, and was stronger than Frieza. The only reason Goku's Super Saiyan transformation was so hype is due to the seemingly insurmountable struggle Goku is facing against Frieza. Without that struggle, Goku beating Frieza wouldn't be very memorable. Or, just look at the Cell Saga. Too often do people write their characters to be hyper-competent. In the Cell Saga, literally everyone makes massive mistakes, nearly costing them their lives. At the start of the arc, our boys are basically untouchable, and could have easily dealt with Dro before the androids appeared, but chose not to, going on to reap the consequences. Trunks and Vegeta later get to be overpowered, but Vegeta's arrogance allows Cell to transform and surpass them. Cell even reciprocates, and gives them 10 days to train, allowing them the chance to beat him. Then finally, even Gohan decides to flex instead of taking care of business. You know why this happens so often? Because the stronger guy walking in and winning is boring. In my Dragon Ball Z themes video, a major overarching theme for the entire series was Roshi's lesson to always keep improving, as there's always someone out there better than you. Too often this theme is forgotten by the fans, but it returns stronger than ever during the Battle of Gods, where you expect Goku to beat the villain by the end of the movie, but shockingly, it still wasn't enough, and Beerus goes on to explain there's still a vast multiverse out there, full of guys stronger than them. Though, Super is kind of spit on this message, as Beerus seems to be the strongest guy around according to modern Super, being the strongest god of destruction, and constantly being retconned so that he can continue to be stronger than Goku. Modern Beerus is kinda Toyotaro's version of this problem, as he can't bring himself to let Beerus be surpassed, going out of his way to make the manga include scenes like Beerus being the strongest god of destruction, or having Beerus beat Perfected Blue Vegeta, constantly asserting his superiority. With every new arc, it continues to feel less and less like Beerus is just that strong, and more like Toyotaro just refuses to let Beerus be surpassed, despite it making no sense. We finally surpassed Nappa, guys. Thanks for the support, and yes, I will be doing this bit again when we reach over 9,000, so please sub so I can do it. Now, alternative to narrative storytelling, where you change a big detail or add another character into the mix, meaning you basically have to rewrite the entire story. I think the best what-if stories are very simple, seemingly small changes, and how they would affect the story. Let me give an example. This is a fun little thought I had while researching one of my past videos. What if Super Buu didn't sense Gohan? So, during the Buu saga, there's a scene where Gohan gets angry due to Old Kai's ritual taking too long to complete. He releases his energy during his outburst, and it shows him that the ritual is the real deal. This scene at first just seems to exist to show us, the viewer, that the ritual is working, but later, we actually find out that Super Buu felt Gohan's energy here, and because he felt Gohan's energy, Buu was scheming away to become stronger in preparation to fight Gohan. When Buu tells us about his plan, it recontextualizes the previous events. While before we thought Buu was waiting because he wanted to have a good fight, this scene shows that Buu actually waited because he needed a strong person to absorb, so he could later beat Gohan. Then, when Buu does fight Gotenks, he waits and doesn't kill Goten and Trunks when they defuse. So, in an alternative version of events, where Gohan doesn't power up, Buu doesn't sense him, and because of that, Buu would likely not be as patient as he was in canon. In the manga, Buu waits almost 30 minutes, but here, as he has nothing to distract him, I doubt he would even wait 10. That means Goten and Trunks likely would have lost 5 days of training, meaning they would be much weaker. Now, despite that, I think the events in the time chamber would remain mostly the same. However, when Buu emerges from the chamber, I doubt anyone would follow him. Since Goten and Trunks missed out on so much of their training, they likely never obtained Super Saiyan 3 and would lack the power to make a portal to leave the chamber. Very ironically, being trapped in the time chamber. See what I did there? Though, they wouldn't be trapped for long, as they would only need 20 minutes to make up for the training they missed, and would be able to reach Super Saiyan 3 and escape. Now, what would Buu do in the next 20 minutes? Well, kill everyone on the lookout, just as he does in the main story. Then he would chase after Dende, who had gotten off the lookout. Now, Gohan can sense all of this happening, and would likely end his ritual early to stop Buu. Since Gohan's ritual only needed another 15 minutes to complete, it likely wouldn't be a big enough power loss to matter. So if Gohan shows up in time to save Dende, he would very likely kill Buu. Now, Buu's only chance here is absorbing Gohan, but I think it's unlikely he would be able to do so, as Gohan is on guard, unlike when he was absorbed in canon. However, as we've just discussed, it's actually more on brand for the series to assume Gohan will somehow blow it. So, if Gohan gets absorbed, Buuhan would appear just in time for a fresh Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks to arrive. This creates a funny reversal, where it's Gotenks losing to Buu instead of Gohan. Goku would show up with the Potara, and upon a quick scan of the battlefield, would probably fuse with Piccolo, and unlike Gohan, Piccolo would actually catch the earring, forming Gokulo, or Hikoku. They both sound pretty good. Now, considering how crazy strong Fusion is, this new Fusion would likely be strong enough to take down Buu, especially with Gotenks helping. And with Piccolo, one of the only characters who didn't make a major mistake during the Cell Saga at the helm, they would likely be able to take care of Buu before any more shenanigans occur. It's possible they would just kill Buu, but this version could also just end up aligning with the canon, with Goku and Piccolo inside of Buu instead of Vegeta. Vegeta would likely still show up at some point, and Piccolo, Goten, and Trunks could all end up on the Supreme Kai world during the finale. This would put us in a position where Gotenks would be stronger than Kid Buu, but might mess around too long, causing them to drop out of Super Saiyan 3. So either Gotenks kills Buu, or things go exactly the same with the Super Spirit Bomb. But all of